Hello and welcome to Seven Story Publishing. I am Lisa Jakovsky and I am here today with Tasha Horbett. How are you doing today, Tasha?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited to talk about your book. Can you tell us about it and your inspiration for it, please?
Certainly, yes. So it's my debut novel. It's Unbroken Spirit. We do recover. Um, so I am almost 2 years sober, and throughout therapy and everything, both my therapist and some of the providers at the PHP I was in, they kind of said, "Well, you've kind of been through a lot at such a young age. I'm almost 32 years old now, and they were like, you could probably write a book with all of this." And at first, I kind of just was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I don't believe you. But then, like, I actually sat down and like started putting all of the thoughts onto paper, and that's kind of how it was made. So it goes through the course of like as early as I can remember, and all of the things that stuck out to me throughout my life, good, bad, ugly, in between. Um, how the addiction started, and then how I got clean, and how I'm doing now.
That's pretty amazing. Can you tell us about the process of writing this and how it felt to be that vulnerable?
Yeah, so we started, like I said, in the therapy program I was in. We had like journaling therapy group sessions sometimes. That was when I first started really kind of not really so much honed in on I'm going to actually turn this into a published book, but where I would kind of share a little bit of it, with the fellow people in the group therapy sessions. Um, and at first I was kind of standoffish, like, am I going to be judged? Because of course there's skeletons in everybody's closet, but you know I was raised in the household, you don't air your dirty laundry in public. So I was like, am I really setting myself up for like a very harsh judgments and stuff like that? But the more I spoke in group about my life story, the more comfortable it kind of made me feel, to where I felt vulnerable enough, I guess you would say, to actually put the words on paper, professionally speaking. Um, so yeah, it came down to a lot of it was, working with my husband and my kids on, hey, does this sound too much? Or should I go deeper? What, just asking for their advice, because they've been with me for a lot of the journey. So
Amazing. Wow. How does it feel to have it out? Because I feel like as authors, we're always worried about our books coming out and what the reception's going to be. How do you feel about it since it's been out?
so it's been a little bit hard, just because, of course, like you said, new author, new book, and there's so many different ways that you can go with it, and like I guess the whole marketing and learning all of that stuff, it's all new to me. But I have had quite a few sales over the past week now. Um, I actually dropped off an author copy, signed over to the PHP that helped me, and they actually have scheduled me for a book reading and book signing. So July 2nd of this year. So
That's incredible. Can you tell us what is a PHP?
yeah, so a PHP is a partial hospitalization program. So in the beginning of my recovery, I was actually in the mental hospital for 2 weeks, and then in agreeing to discharge me, they required me to go to this PHP. And at the time, I was like, I don't need to go to a PHP because I'm not an alcoholic. Like, I came here for mental health problems. Like, um, but yeah, so that's what it is. You typically transition from an inpatient facility to a partial hospitalization. So I was there 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then I would get to go home. Yeah.
That's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey from, what happened to cause you to become an addict? Just a little bit about that so we have an idea of what really drove you to write the book.
Yeah, certainly. So we moved around a lot when I was a kid, like not just like different neighborhoods, but I've literally lived in 4 states just before I was 18, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my dad was an over the road truck driver. There were a lot of issues in the family dynamic, not only just within like my immediate family, but distant family members as well. Um, excuse me, lots of addiction and mental health issues and stuff like that, like throughout the whole family dynamic. It was a bit chaotic. But after like, I think my first drink was actually at the age of 7 when my one of my uncles, he thought it would be funny to be like, oh yeah, here, take a sip. And of course, thankfully at that moment I was like, this is disgusting. Why would anybody want to drink this? But as life went on and things started to get a little bit more chaotic in my life, I was surrounded by quite a lot of misfortunes. I had several deaths within the same year, as well as I don't know how to say it without. I'm trying to like monitor how bad I like how I word things.
Yeah, just a summary so we have an idea of what drove you to write the book, because that's what's so inspiring about this is hearing your story. Someone is going to hear this interview or read your book and then want to get clean and have a more positive life just because of what you went through as well, which is what is so incredible about the strength that you have right now.
Yeah. So basically, among all those deaths and everything, I was also sexually assaulted, and all of that happened at around the age of 16. And between 16 and 17, it was all kind of like just falling downhill. That's when like the alcoholism really took hold. And then I just started drinking just because, like, I started, instead of making excuses for why I was drinking, I was just drinking.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people who, and a lot of addicts can relate, where we say we're functioning alcoholics. Like, I was still going to work, I was still doing all the things, but eventually that started falling downhill as well. My turning point was actually I had been drinking and I had blacked out and I had almost severely hurt my husband. So yeah, I was like, okay, nope, I need help. And again, at this point, I'm like completely checked out. It's not the alcohol's fault. It's just my mental health issues. And I'm like, I need help because either like, I don't think I'm going to live longer. Like, and I kept pushing it off. I was going to wait until after my birthday, which is July 12th. But I was like, after that weekend, I was like, if I don't go now, I'm not going to live to see my birthday. So I went, and that's pretty much where we're at.
It's incredible, the strength that you have to do something positive like that. It wasn't exactly your fault either that you had something tragic like that happen, and thankfully your husband is still here.
Yes.
The strength that you had to get help for your family, that is so incredible and so inspiring. Can you tell us about what your life looks like now, being clean, sober? What are the positive, the good things? Tell us all about that now.
Yeah, certainly. So now I am enrolled in an online university. I'm about halfway through to earning my bachelor's in psychology. I talk about it a lot in my book, especially the last chapter, but I plan on continuing after getting my bachelor's, going on to getting my master's, and then later on my PsyD.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I want to get my PsyD, and I want to open up a nonprofit facility that deals with a lot of dual diagnosis and people who have been like in and out of the system, stuff like that, just to kind of bridge that gap. Because as I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of lacking in the mental health field right now. So I just want to, hopefully, if I can save one person's life, all of it's worth it. And that's all I care about. So
you're going to save a lot more than one person's life going into that, because there is a really huge gap there. And there's a really huge gap in putting out resources that are available. And we've also got that negative stigma around it too, that we need to break. So we need more nonprofits like what you want to open, and we need more individuals that aren't afraid to get their master's and their PsyD, because so many people say how hard a master's, and it's not as hard as people think. It's really not, So I think that's absolutely incredible, and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. Like, that's super inspiring to others too, to get clean and want to move forward and be able to go to school and do that, because especially in our 30s, going back to school is daunting. So I definitely commend you for that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What has been your favorite thing about being an author?
Honestly, it's probably been the constant editing. Like, I've been diagnosed with OCD, so perfectionist by trade, I guess. So yeah, I constantly, it started, like I said, when I first started doing all of the journaling and stuff in therapy, it was all literally in journals. Like, I have books full, like, start on one section of the life pages and then go into a different journal and I'm writing about something different. And then it just kind of like all came together. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna actually publish this, it's not going to be handwritten. So I finally just started getting on the computer and doing it. So
I love to still handwrite things. I love hearing that other people still do. It was really hard to start to like type instead of handwriting, because I even still have like an obsession with pens. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the really cool parts about being an author, is getting to be able to go back and read your books and read things over. What has been one of the toughest things about being an author?
Presently, I would say my lack of patience. So I don't know why I assumed that it would be like, okay, it's published, okay, millions of copies sold. Like, I'm not trying to like make millions of dollars, but it just, I don't know, mentally, I guess I had that fabricated story saying like, as soon as you hit the publish button, it's going to be like sent to the masses and everybody's going to know about it. And like right now I've ordered, I ordered a bulk set of author copies and I'm waiting for them to be delivered. And I'm like, are you here yet? Are you here yet?
I totally understand. And when you get it and do the great unboxing, it's like one of the coolest things ever. Like, literally everyone I know, including myself, walks around with their book like it's like a stuffed animal almost. But I totally understand. You see a lot of scammers out there on social media showing like, I sold X amount of books. I'm like, no, you didn't. That's not true. What does being a successful author look like to you?
I think that for me to consider myself successful with this book, like I said, it's not going to be like, oh, I made X amount of money in royalties. Like, that doesn't really matter to me as much. It's more so how many lives I reach with it. Like, just having someone, if they were to leave a review saying, hey, I bought this book for my cousin and it saved their life, or they thought about giving up on rehab and then they decided to go back, like anything like that, like that's what drives me to write the book that I wrote. That's what drives me to want to, open up the nonprofit facility. Like, it's not about the money. I could open a for-profit very easily, you know what I mean? But I want to do it nonprofit so that people look at it and they know, like, okay, she's not in it for the money. She's in it to actually help us.
Absolutely. And your book is going to do that. It's one of those things. It's more about the marketing. You just have to get it out there. And that's one of the biggest parts of being an author is the marketing. That's one of the toughest parts, but your book is definitely going to do that. We need more books out there like this, and we need more nonprofit agencies that are like that as well, because, even in teaching, my students are like, what is dual diagnosis? They have no idea what I'm talking about. And there's typically with mental health, you're diagnosed with more than one thing. It's rare that it's going to be one thing, so we need more professionals out there like that. So I think that's super exciting and really amazing. Do you have plans to write more books? Do you want to write like fiction books, or you want to stick with the nonfiction?
So I did also just publish a fiction. It's a young adult dark fantasy type. I haven't really done any promoting on that one just because obviously my key focus is the Unbroken Spirit book. But I do plan on expanding the Scarred Grimoire series as well for that, the Unbroken Spirit. So my goal for my next book is going to be more so poems and short stories focused on trauma and recovery and all the things like that, but then it'll also have some deep shadow work for people, like where I did something here and then like here's some journal entries for you to try type of thing. So
Love that. I love that. Resources for other individuals. What are some things that inspire you to write resources like that and to put that in your books? What have you used that help you?
So my therapist, when I was in the PHP, he was outstanding. I mean, literally, and I talk about it a lot in my book too. It's like he's nothing like the stereotypical therapist, aside from he constantly wore button ups, like he dressed a little dorky, but he was amazing. Like he would recommend all of these books to me. Like once he found out that I liked to read, he'd be like, "Have you read this one? Have you read that one? Go find this one." And so like The Body Keeps the Score, that one was a really good one. I loved there was a book called Sober Curious that I read like relentlessly. That was really good. So I literally, like, once I absorbed the fact that like, okay, yeah, you're an addict, you need to get clean, this is what we're doing, you're just going to deal with it. I went online and like my shopping carts became full of every type of resource, and like I've got all the signs, like the breathing, the box breathing, all the everything you could think of. I've purchased it.
I don't blame you. I think that's amazing, and I asked about it because we need to talk about this stuff more. We need to put this stuff out there more, and especially with the way things are in the world right now. We really need to break this stigma, and I personally feel like it's more about putting the resources out than breaking the stigma. How do you feel about that?
So I feel, from what I've heard by talking with others in the industry and like in the community of addiction, it's more so been people who have either their insurance didn't cover the help that they needed. I had a friend who was in the same treatment program as me. Her insurance had changed when she changed employers, and the medications that she was on were no longer covered. So
Oh,
she was basically going to have to go right back into the diving pool of, let me try to find a new prescription that works for me the same way that this one did, because I can't afford to pay out of pocket for this one. So yeah, I definitely feel like it's a lack of resources. And then also, the same way with what you said about my book, you've got to market it. A lot of people, if there are resources available, the resources aren't promoting themselves in a way where the people who genuinely need the resources know that they exist. Like,
100%.
so that's a big problem that I'm seeing.
100% agree with you. I keep seeing a lot on social media, this book ban, that book ban, and it's just like, why? What is the big deal? I've never understood any of that. So I think that getting your book out there is one of those special things that we really need more of. And I'm very excited to, take a look at your book and read it over myself because it sounds incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We need more of this out there. What is some advice you have for somebody who might be struggling and trying to determine if they should get clean or not?
So, again, a lot of it's quotes that I'd heard throughout my time at the program. But one of the counselors there at the PHP, he was notorious for saying, "Well, what's your alternative? Like, try this, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But what's your alternative? Your alternative is you could die. Like, what's the worst that can happen by you trying?" Like, my advice would honestly be, no one is promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, if we just take it the age old cliche, one day at a time, but it seriously, it works. Like, it even works with people who struggle with anxiety. One day at a time. Don't sit here and go, oh my God, I have all of these things that I have to do throughout the week. Focus on today, and then tomorrow we'll focus on the rest. Like, but just for today, focus on what you have to deal with today. Um, yeah, that's the biggest thing, is just do it.
I agree completely. And I think you make such a good point, especially because of having anxiety. You know, this world puts so much pressures on us. And depending on what job we have, what kind of life we lead, it could have even more pressure. So I think that's amazing advice. One day at a time, one thing at a time. What
Exactly.
advice do you have for somebody who is looking to possibly write their own memoir like you did? What would you tell somebody who's thinking and about kind of like on the fence about that?
So I would say probably don't be don't don't feel like you have to rush yourself to hit that publish button. You know, what I noticed every time that I was working on my book was I would write a chapter, and then I would like think about it when I was like proofreading it or something, and I'd be like, wait a minute, that's not quite how that happened. Or I'd be like, wait, I left out like a whole 6-month period of some crazy stuff that went down. So like, give yourself that time and that space to make sure that you put everything in there that you feel comfortable with. And I mean, it's your book, it's your story. You don't have to put something in there if it's something that you feel like is detrimental, you don't want anyone to ever know about it, then leave it between you and whoever your higher power is. Like, that does not have to be put out into the world.
I absolutely love that, you know, because I feel like when we think of a memoir, we think about having to be super honest and super vulnerable. But you're totally right, because it's us. It's what we want to put in there, and it's what we're comfortable putting in there. I love that. What did you enjoy writing more, your memoir or writing your fiction book?
Honestly, I enjoyed the memoir more. I did the YA more so for my kids. They're actually the three main characters in the book.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so that one was just more so because of how heavy the memoir is. The kids wanted something that they could feel like they could read without being completely lost. So I gave them their own little world, so that they
I
have a whole
love
series
that.
for them.
That is so cool. Was it inspired by them, or did they ask for any kind of specific story? That's really cute.
So I came up with the background of it. It's called Moonvale Academy. It's basically it's a mixture of all types of worlds that you've already seen published, really. But it's the three main characters, and they're all variations. At this academy, there's witches, there's werewolves, there's sirens. So my daughter, her character in the book is a siren. Um, and make sure that each of their characters, it fits who they are as a real person, like their personality and their appearances. Like she fit the siren role to a T. And then my middle son, he's a bit on the hairy side, and he's more of my gruff boy, so he's a werewolf in the book. It just fits. And then my youngest is, to say a ladies' man would be modest. Um, so he's a hybrid. So he's actually a vampire shapeshifter blend. But yeah, the characters are 100% based on my kids. I even, for their little love interests in the books, I said, well, what would you prefer for your love interest to be like? So they got to build their own, kind of like a Build-A-Bear in relationships.
It was like a family affair for that book.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Have they read it? Do they love it?
So they've read a little bit about it. Yeah, and actually my proof just got delivered today. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Congrats on getting that. That's so
thank you.
exciting. Oh my goodness. Did it take longer to write that than your memoir?
No, I think because so creative writing was something that I always like excelled in when I was in high school. Um, I think that the memoir took the longest because that one I've been working on essentially for the whole almost 2 years of my sobriety. Um, because I wanted that one to be perfect. Like, for me, in my mind, the YA, if it was, if it had some errors, or, some of the storyline didn't quite flow as well, like, it wasn't as big of a deal to me as, my memoir. Like, that's my child. Like,
That means everything to you.
yeah.
I think both of them are beautiful because I love the fact that your family was involved with the young adult one. I think that is so cute. And you have plans for more with that one?
Yes, yeah. So traditionally, I think I have my daughter started at like 16 in the book, so 4 years of schooling, and I even broke it up. So in the traditional books, it would be like Act One or Part One, whatever. But actually, in this book, I have it Term 1, 2, and 3, and then instead of the chapters being 1, 2, and 3, they're called lessons.
Oh, I love
So
it.
everything is very school formatted. So we're looking for 3 more books.
Amazing. And I love the fact that you have this incredible memoir that, can be inspiring and show your family and show other people how they can overcome darkness. And then you have this really cool young adult book that you did with your family as well.
Yes.
So you're inspiring your family in all these different ways, which is just so cool and incredible. I love that. That's amazing. You are seriously going to inspire so many people. I am very excited to see where you go with this. We have about 3.5 more minutes. Can you tell us what's next for you and where people can find your books and find you on social media?
Yeah, certainly. So, honestly, what's next for me right now is I'm just brainstorming on working on the second book for the memoir series, and then of course for the YA, because once my kids finish their proofreading of what they think of the book, then we'll go from there on how year 2 of Moonvale Academy is going to look for them. There might be some slight changes in their roommates or things of that nature, because of course kids at this age, they change their minds quite frequently. But honestly, it's mostly just, knocking out schoolwork. I'm an honors student, so just making sure that I don't forget to turn in assignments on time, because I want to keep my 4.0.
Yeah, blame you. That's incredible.
Thank you. But yeah, no, it's just working on the books, working on schoolwork, spending time with my family. That's about it. As far as like where to find my book, both of the books are available. They're on Amazon, but they're also they're through like all of the major for like ebook formats. So you can do like the Nook, the Google Play. Sorry, I'm not a Google person, but yeah, the Google Play books, whatever. It's on Apple Books, pretty much anywhere that you can think of to get a book. It's on paperback, hardcover, and ebook format.
That's incredible. I absolutely love it. I am so excited to check out your book. I'm so excited for your career too, because we need more people like you in psychology. The field is changing and moving forward, and I'm so ridiculously excited. You should be so proud. And it sounds like your family is too, because you're going to make some really incredible positive changes in this world too. I have some resources I'll send you after this as well to help out,
Perfect.
especially the marketing part.
Thank you.
There's a whole author community out there, so I'm going to send you some different things after this as well. But any social media they can follow you on, website, we can follow you as well?
Yep. So I'm on, I pretty much think it's all of the social media outlets available: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm starting to show my age a little bit.
Don't trust me.
It's ever changing, I swear. But so it's just The Scarred Grimoire. And then so TikTok and all of that, it's just at The Scarred Grimoire.
I'm definitely going to check it out after this. I am super excited. I love that you're going to psychology because we need more nonprofits like that. And I can't wait to check out your books. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I think that about covers everything. I just
Um,
appreciate you guys taking this for me.
Of course. Oh my gosh, you're always more than welcome to come back too when more books come out. But I'm so excited to see how you inspire people. I've got some things I'm going to send you after this as well. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited because that's
Thank
exactly
you.
what we need more of. You are incredible and you're so inspiring, Tasha. Thank you so much for your book and for being able to be so open and vulnerable. You are incredibly strong.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. I am Lisa Tchaikovsky with 7 Story Publishing. Thank you for joining me, author Tasha Horbett.